5 of Coffee and Co-Read, your source for all things literary with Catherine
and Kristen, where we take one book a month and dive in, where we believe there's... Fuck, what have I done? Where we believe there's nothing better than a hot coffee and an awesome book. Join us for our virtual book club where we take one book a month and dive into all the drama, adventure, and romance we can find. Hi, Catherine.
Hey, Kristen.
We've been sort of on I don't want to say a roll, but like, I guess it seems like a lot of the books that we've been reading lately, sort of have something in common. And,
yeah,
you know, what with Brimstone's release, I know...
Like we talked about last week.
We wanted to, like, and it's not just about Brimstone, but, like, it just sort of stuck in our brains. This whole idea of gods in books being these tangible beings that are making decisions and are sort of involved in plot. So we haven't really discovered it in terms of this book, Gild, yet. However, there is mention, like, it does mention the goddesses, so you sort of are wondering if it's gonna come up. Last month's book, Sorry, When the Moon Hatched, was very, like, heavy on the gods and them being sort of, like, they're not physical, but they were tangible in the book. I'm just trying to think, like, I feel like we've done, I mean,
the month before Songbird
and the Heart of Stone, yes. Yeah. That also had sort of a physical manifestation of gods.
Very much so.
In the books. Obviously Quicksilver, which is the book that comes first, before Brimstone. That one does, even, like, if we're going to, like, SJM books, Throne of Glass series, that has physical manifestations of gods. Same with, really, ACOTAR, there are, like,
From Blood and Ash.
Yeah, From Blood and Ash. Like, there are all these books that take physical representations of deities and put them sort of in the plot.
Yeah, and I feel like it's becoming more common, I feel like, that a lot of books are doing it. Especially these longer series. And, like, obviously, I have no idea if it happens in this book, but the sprinkling in of almost every week something comes up where she talks about a goddess. I'm like, there's gonna, and they have magic in this world. I'm like, is this telling us something, or am I reading into something that's not there? Because, like, so many books lately do have that. Like, they'll mention the gods. Like, I'm re-listening to Quicksilver since we talked about it last week, and, like, the very beginning, they're, like, mentioning the gods' names, and you're like, oh, they're just gods like our gods. They're not real. And then by the end of the book, you're like, oh, maybe they are real.
And we say real with all sensitivity to different religious beliefs and, what you believe to be real or not real. But when we say real, we mean the physical... like a physical representation / manifestation of a god.
Yes, I guess more so, like, everybody in these worlds believe the same thing because there is definitive proof of it. Yeah. Whereas, obviously, in our world, many people believe many different things, and they have their proofs that they probably
But it's primarily based on faith.
Yeah,
like that is what completely cool. That is what faith is. It's believing in something that you don't necessarily have proof of. Which again, fine.
Good for you. Wish I believed in anything. Primarily myself, to be honest. But yeah, it does seem like it's more of a trend lately of, like, we'll start a book and it'll mention, like, this is the god of this, and this is the god of this, and then by, like, the second or third book, it's like they become real people in the books.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, I should have paid more attention, because normally I'm just like,
yeah,
whatever.
And I will say that a lot of these books are taking like mythology and sort of making it real. You know what I mean? Like, I find that a lot of the books are taking like either Celtic or Norse or Irish. Oh, that was another one too. The
Fate, Inked in Blood.
Yep, thank you. That one too. Yep.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're taking mythological gods and goddesses and sort of recreating them and repurposing them in these fictional narratives, which I happen to enjoy as somebody who is a fan of mythology.
Yeah. Well, that's like any of the, like, the Greek books. Oh, Blood of Hercules.
Yes.
I just made you read.
You did.
And Bonds of Hercules just came out. And, like, it's a bit of a different take on it, but the gods are still, like, Zeus is still in it, and Hades is still in it. Like, the gods are still in it.
Yes.
So, yeah. It's, I do feel like it's happening a lot more. So whenever it pokes its head in a book, I'm like, they're saying this to show us that, like, and obviously, but I feel like from Blood and Ash, spoiler alert for that book.
I mean, we haven't gotten that far into it, so, like,
yeah.
But people listening have probably read more of it than we have.
But also, I think even if you haven't read it, you might know that, like, she's done a spin-off series.
Right. Yes.
So it's from Blood and Ash is one series, and then she's done a spin-off series about the gods. And apparently that is actually pretty good. People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, but people seem to enjoy her main series too, and I just can't get past the writing.
Yeah.
Which is...
Well, the first one was good.
Which is wild, because I can get past...
I can get past anything.
Well, like, I know.
I
can get past a lot of bad writing. And so I don't know what it is about her writing, because so many people rave about it. And so many people talk about how crappy Sarah J. Maas's writing is.
Yeah.
And how great hers is. And I'm like, do we read the same things?
Yeah, I think it really just depends on the... and I think this is something we could talk about at length. But I feel like there's some things that take you out of books. And when a writer writes that kind of thing, and it pulls you out because you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. For me, I just found JLA. I find her dialogue to be stilted. And, like, it's like they're trying to be young and hip when they're in this, like, fantasy world that has, like, they're surprised that there's running water, and yet they're being like, hey, bae! And I know that's not actually what they say, but, like, that's how it feels.
No, but there is a scene where they do say something that's, like, super,
like, current.
For Blood and Ash, yes, super current, like, so much so that, like, I didn't say it because I am old. Like, that current. Yeah. And I was like... That pulled me completely. That's what I mean by things that pull you completely out of the book. Like, that pulled me so far out of the book. I was like... Yeah. No.
And, like, maybe it's just the SJM, like, her writing is super descriptive. Like, heavy on the imagery. Right? But I find that... I love that about books. Yeah. Only because I find that it showcases talent in writing. And, like... You know, whether you appreciate that much description or not, again, personal preference. But for me, I find it adds to the narrative, especially where, like, in ACOTAR, she focuses on describing things in terms of color palette, in terms of artistry, because Feyre is an artist. She uses more descriptive language in musicality. And, like, hearing and stuff, and, like, how things sound in Throne of Glass, because Aelin is a musician, right? She talks about movement a lot more in Crescent City because Bryce is a dancer. So, like, the fact that she does that with such nuance, to me, is so intelligent and so, like, who thinks of that?
Yeah, it shows differences in characters. Like, so I absolutely adore and love Blood of Hercules and Bonds of Hercules.
Yes.
But I don't think that I ever want to do it on the podcast because I don't want to start ripping into it because I love it too much. But I know, like,
if you start to pick it apart, you'll see the issues in it.
Well, I already see some of them very blaringly, especially with, like, Bonds of Hercules. Like, it's one of those books that came out, and I'm like, I think it needs another edit.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many, they repeat things, and you're like, you were just saying the exact same thing. Like, that should have been caught in an edit. But also, I've read 2 books in another series that she's done. And in Bonds of Hercules, it kind of sets up the next series she's going to do, and it has the new female main character of the next series as a chapter. And all of her female characters are, like, too similar for me. Right. I'm still going to read it because it'll come out in 2027, I think. So, like, I'll have enough time between the books to
to really,
I like this character, and I can get over the fact that she's too similar.
Yeah.
But I just think that her characters are all very similar.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what reminded me of it when you're talking about, like, someone like Sarah J. Maas who does all the different things to differentiate her characters.
Yeah. Anyway.
But it did remind me, too, of the descriptiveness did remind me of Lord of the Rings. And, like, the descriptiveness of Lord of the Rings is, like, one of the best parts of the book. Like, how much in those books he describes things.
Now.
Also a book that I don't think I'd want to do in the podcast.
No. Now, can I just add that in Lord of the Rings, did I skip, like, 20 pages of that poem that giant guy does? Yes, I did. Tom, Tom Bombadil or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
I started reading that bit, and I read maybe a third of it, and I was like, nope, do you know what? I'm going to hard pass, and I just skipped it.
Yeah, that is
And, like, didn't take away from the rest of the book for me.
No.
But, like, I'm also not so hardcore that I'm going to read the Silmarillion.
Yes.
I'm not one of those people. I'm not learning Elvish. I'm not that hardcore.
I think it would be so cool to learn it, but also I don't think I have the, like, I'm still learning French here, like,
yeah,
still trying my best. I don't think I can.
I will say that I do love the languages. We're all over the place for this intro conversation. I just had to point that out.
Listen, it's all about faith. And we're going to wrap it up now on that faith.
Faith, trust, and pixie dust.
Yes, I love that. So just heads up, this is not a spoiler-free zone and things might get saucy. So on that faith, trust, and pixie dust thing, I fucked up the amount of chapters for the week. Yeah. So we have a bit of a different
format
schedule than we advertised in at the end of the last episode.
Yeah. So
we're actually,
So, like, to be fair, so just we keep giving you guys peeks behind the curtain. So peek behind the curtain, number 10,000,002. Normally, Catherine takes the job of splitting up the book into equal parts so that her and I can each take equal portions to take notes on. And I go along with it. I'm along for the ride. So this week, I guess, so I don't know.
Well, this book was a bit of a different beast.
Yes.
In that we flipped a coin to decide between this book and The Songbird in the Heart of Stone.
Yes.
and the Songbird in the Heart of Stone won. So then I assumed that I had already divided this book because we already had a thing for it. And I must have fucked something up. So here we are, adding 4 chapters to this one.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with me and end with me, but that's just where we're going this week.
And like, to be fair, usually, so like, normally our episodes are a couple of hours in length, and the past couple have not. You know, we're hitting a little below an hour and a half, maybe hour 15, like, and we've been like, oh my god, we're getting so quick.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, I just thought that it was that this book
is short.
The book isn't super long, and the pages are, like, the words are big on the pages of the physical book. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. That makes sense, I guess. Anyway, it is what it is. So we're just doing 4 more chapters this week than we said.
Yeah.
So if you need to pause and go read to chapter 23, I'm sure you could also listen until you get to chapter 19 and then pause, because I don't think we're going to spoil anything.
Well, I mean, also, to be fair, you could just keep listening and be like, who needs to read those 4 chapters? And just, we're pretty detailed here.
Yeah, that's true.
We read it so that you don't have to.
That's a good one. So yeah, week 3, chapters 14 to 23. Sorry about that, everyone. So last week was wild. We had our bunch of shit that I forgot happened. So I think week 1, Midas decided to give Auren to King Folk for one night in exchange for his army attacking, King Folk's army attacking with King Midas's army, the 4th kingdom. Last week, they were having a big old celebration, and they were giving Auren to King Folk. And just as they were about to go to his bedroom, a messenger shows up and says, Midas fucked you over. And all of your soldiers are dead to King Folk.
Yikes.
And then they have a little battle, and Folk grabs Auren and puts a knife to her throat, but Digby, her guard, ends up killing him and literally killed the king to save her. And she's like so grateful because 1, she was almost murdered, but also 2, she was almost raped by him as well. So she's like very grateful to Digby in this moment. So we kind of left her. She's in her room and she's like very upset about everything that happened.
Yeah, and like she's covered in blood, so like
yeah, and she really thought she was gonna die. She like looked at Midas and she was like, I need to close my eyes because I don't want to see him see me die.
How about I don't want to die?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this week, she wakes up to the sound of a key in her cage, and servants come in to fill her tub. But she just stays in bed, and she can feel King Midas watching. And he walks over to her and offers his hand, but she doesn't take it. And he asks to get her cleaned up, but she's mad at him, rightfully so. And he just says that he knows, but to let him explain. And to let him take care of her, and to let him help her.
Ugh.
And last week, she brought up that she felt a fissure in their relationship. But right now, she says the fissure stops and waits. Because he once said, let me help you before now. So we kind of get like a flashback. That's what they sound like, right?
Oh my god. That's really funny.
So she was on the streets, and she used to sleep during the day, and she would creep around at night, and she was too afraid to buy anything or approach anyone, and she only did it when it was absolutely necessary. And like, if you finish the book, that makes so much more sense now than it would have. But she was alone and hiding because the world is run by bad men. And you're like, yes, it is. It still is.
Mm-hmm.
And this too, she thinks she couldn't stay invisible even when she tried. And you're like, oh, because she's so beautiful.
I mean, she's Goldie.
Well, yeah, we presume that
Oh,
she wasn't
right.
golden when she
Yes.
was a kid.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, she was turned golden because of her beauty, is what we know.
Yes.
So she thinks that when she tried to stay invisible, she slipped up, and looters came that night with fire and axes to the village, and she thinks she should have left days before, but the men took any and everything that they wanted, and the farmers didn't stand a chance because they didn't even have any weapons. And she tried to run, but she was pulled from an alleyway and shoved into a cart with the other women, and they screamed and cried, but she was silent. You're like, yeah, that's the trauma. That's the trauma that she's out. This is PTSD.
Mm-hmm. This is how it works, people.
Yeah. She thought then, while she was in the wagon, that there's like no way she'd escape again. And then Midas came. Like the goddesses sent him on a horse with half a dozen other men and fought the looters.
So again, a mention of the goddesses again.
Yeah, I know. It's happening all the time. And the first time I read it, don't even remember goddesses being mentioned.
Definitely did not either.
No. So I guess the women get free, and she sees them all go back to their people, but she doesn't have anyone, so she goes to the alleyway that she was taken from. And then a tall figure appears, and at first she's scared, because of course, and then she sees his handsome face, and he genuinely smiles, and he says, "You're safe now, let me help you." And we kind of go back to the present. And she thinks he earned her trust, love, and loyalty, and she wouldn't be in this gilded cage if he hadn't. No, you'd be in someone else's. Like, this is not...
Or you would be free to walk in the streets.
Yeah. And then Midas says, please. And since he's put the crown on his head, he's never said that to her.
Vomit.
Awful person. So she hesitates, but it is powerful. So she takes his hand, and he smiles and pulls her to the bathroom. And something in her warms, and her body stops shaking because she's in shock. So he stands behind her, and he unwraps her ribbons layer by layer, and he goes slowly, and he helps her out of her gown, and then he leads her into the tub. And he grabs a cloth and asks if he can, and she just tips her head up to let him get at the wound on her neck. So he starts cleaning it up. And he says that he's sorry.
Too little, too late, dude. That's what I would say.
Right?
I wouldn't. I don't know what I would say in that situation, but, like, I would hope that I would say that.
Yeah. I do appreciate what she says a little bit, because she says, for what part?
Valid point.
Which, yeah. And then he just says, you weren't supposed to get hurt.
Bullshit.
And she says... Sorry.
I say bullshit. I call bullshit.
Well, I think this is the only honest thing he says tonight, that she wasn't supposed to get sliced with a knife. Because I don't think he thinks anything else is hurt.
Ugh.
So she says then that the slice on her throat is the least of, like, their worries, basically. And she dunks herself in the tub. And she comes up and she doesn't mask the hurt and anger in her eyes. And Midas can see it. And I'm like, how the fuck can he see her emotions? But it's fine.
If only people in real life could see our emotions, I feel like that would clear up a lot.
Right?
Clear up a lot of miscommunications.
Well, yeah. Mostly on my end of I can't tell what anyone's feeling at any point in time. So Midas nods and he says, I know what you're thinking. And she says, I didn't think you'd actually go through with it. And her ribbons hug her to keep her from cracking. And she says, I trusted you after all of these years, after all that she's done. And Midas says, I was never going to let him touch you. I'm like, but he did. He did touch her. Like, she fed him.
Yeah.
He touched her. Like, what do you mean?
I guess touch her in a way that was acceptable for him.
Like, she touched his dick unwillingly. Like,
Yeah.
You already failed at this. And then he says that Falk coveted her and he was a fool and dared to ask for what was Midas's. And she says, no, you set me up. And she's thinking of the breakfast area where she kind of realized that Midas put her there so that he would ask that kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's going to gaslight her and tell her that he didn't.
Does he actually?
Fucking wild.
I don't remember that part.
So yeah, she says, you set me up. And he asks if that's what she thinks.
Yes?
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't get too far into the gaslighting, but yeah. So he then tells her, which I think is a bunch of bullshit, that Falk is a flesh trader.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe this.
I don't at all. Well, I don't believe that Midas isn't either.
Yeah, I have issues on the believing spectrum of this.
Me too. I think that he's just preying on her fears and on her justiceness. Like,
yes. And,
yeah.
you know, trying to make it okay that he did what he did. Because it was for the greater good, quote unquote.
Yeah. And I really think that this is 100% like, oh, she has PTSD because she was flesh traded.
Mm-hmm.
I assume. And maybe kind of remember, but I don't really remember. But I assume that happened to her. So yeah. Basically, Midas says that he found out for sure months ago and he knew something needed to be done. And I'm like, that's also bullshit because he was sending gold back longer than this. So he's been working on this for longer. And I just think Auren knows how smart he is and how much he plans in advance. I think him trying to gaslight her here and say that, like, he didn't, like, bait Falk with her when he brought her to the room. And, like, he only planned this a couple months ago when he was sure that, when he found out that he was a flesh trader. Like, I think he's not realizing how much Auren knows him.
But also, like, I feel like he also doesn't understand how much she just observes and how much she takes in. Like, they literally talk when she is in the room and when any saddle is in the room as if they aren't present.
Yeah.
And, like, you think they don't have ears? Like, what is it? Because they can hear things. So, like, you talk, they're gonna hear it. So, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe he just assumes that even though she was present for all these discussions he had, that it didn't, like, she didn't retain any of that information like she obviously did.
Well, yeah, he was like, play your pretty music while the men talk.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't think that any of them...
He's, like, these people are not idiots. And, like, I find, like, I 100% sometimes do the same. Like, you know, you start talking about stuff when you're, like, out to dinner. And, like, the wait staff totally hear what you're talking about when they come over.
Well, we worked at a coffee shop.
We did. Yeah, we did. But, like, obviously nothing that I'm talking about is that scandalous. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk about it in public. But, like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about stuff.
It can be fun, though.
It can, yeah. But, like, you talk about stuff. Like, obviously the waitstaff hear you and they form judgments on it. So, like, what does he expect? That you can't close your ears.
Yeah. But I also just think it's dumb because literally last week we got the flashback of him being like, I'm going to ask her to marry me about the queen. And it's like, Auren knows that he has these grand plans and, like, puts things in motion. And clearly, like, once we finish the book, we realize how much work had to be put into him his proposal to marry the queen. So it's like, she knows him better. And I think he's glossing over the fact that she's not just one of his saddles.
Yeah.
Like, she knew him before. And she's been watching this whole time.
Yeah.
I just think he's being stupid.
It's like the one thing he's stupid about.
Yeah. Which I'm glad, because I fucking hate him.
True story.
So she says, so you plan to take him out, and he asks if she would rather he kept selling his people for profit.
Wow. So put it all on her.
100%. He's so gaslighting
Yeah, now
her.
she's the bad guy.
Yeah. And he says he's a king and kings have to make hard decisions. And he says, when it was clear Fulk was no longer a viable ally or a good person, he decided to act. And Auren just says, by setting him up and tricking him and sending his men to slaughter. And she just asks, like, how many of his men had to die? Which is a great point.
Yeah.
And he says, as few as possible, enough to make it work. And he says, better a man die with honor on a battlefield than a child, obviously her greatest fear, be sold to slavery. And asks if she agrees. And it's just a punch to her. And I'm like, this is 100% gaslighting.
Yeah.
I hate it. And, like, making her feel bad when, like, I hate it. It actually gets worse.
Could it?
It does. Just wait. He says he did it for her so that they... Oh, this is why I'm an idiot. This isn't funny at all. He says he did this for her so that they, the children and Fulk's people, didn't have to endure what she did. So clearly she was flesh traded. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what that means. I only laughed because I completely forgot I wrote this. So obviously now it's clear we have confirmation on that. He says that he's sorry, and she knows how he is. Once he gets a plan in his head, it's all he can focus on, and he doesn't think of the consequences. And she's like, the consequences being human emotion and human reactions and shit. And I'm like, that's not okay, but great. She asks why he didn't tell her, but he says that Fulk might have found out, and he says she played her part beautifully. And she says that she was terrified and hurt.
Yeah, it wasn't her playing a part. If she was acting, then maybe it would have been less believable. But if she still would have been more secure in her, like, in herself and in her future. And especially, I'm sorry, if she had been flesh traded in the past, you'd think he would have been especially sensitive to the thought of her being essentially bartered again. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm doing this for you so that people don't experience what you experience, but I'm going to make you experience it again. You're welcome. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And honestly, just wait.
Like, the way I'm reacting, you'd think that I didn't read this. I did. Like, and I don't just mean, like, however many years ago when I first read it. I read it, like, last week. I read this part.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm just, like, getting really angry about it.
I know, rightfully so. And it is different to just read it and also to, like, be taking notes and watching out for certain things, too. Like, they are different things. So he just says he didn't think. And I just put down bullshit.
Yeah, no, he did.
And she says that he killed a king and used him to attack another. And he tells her not to worry about it because he has another plan.
Oh, fuck.
And she just is like, I guess you're not going to tell me that. And he says that he doesn't dare say more because no one knows any of this except for her. And he needs to do the next part just as carefully, but he needs her to forgive him and understand.
He needs her to forgive him.
Yep.
He needs it.
And to understand.
He needs it.
He needs it.
Fuck her.
Yeah. What does she need? Doesn't fucking matter. So she wonders if she does understand. And she knows that she's relieved that he wasn't going to let Fulk have her. And that he always had a plan. And she does think it was a callous and thoughtless plan. But he often forgets the human side of it. And she says, I was so mad at you. And this is the part where I started typing in caps. Not quite yet, but in this part. Midas laughs and says, I know. He says now, he thought that she was acting. And then he says, I figured you trusted me enough and were putting on a good show. He's putting it back on her that she doesn't trust him enough to get her out of the situation. And
oh my god, this is like textbook textbook manipulation and gaslighting. Like, textbook. Like, do you know what I would love to do? I would love if because you know how you see all these, like, on YouTube, you see all these, like, videos of, like, professionals reviewing things? Mm-hmm. I would love it. I've actually seen videos of it where, like, relationship and marriage counselors review, like, movie couples and all this stuff. I would love a relationship counselor to take a crack at this.
Yeah.
Like, I would really, really just love it. If you or someone you know is a marriage counselor, get them to read this book and give us your notes, please. Because I really want to hear them. Because, like, oh my God.
We both just said "cause like" at the same time.
So trademark.
Yeah. But I did, the first time I read it, I definitely saw that he had red flags and was being manipulative.
Which is what we discussed last week.
Yes, but I didn't pay as much attention to these moments of like, oh, I thought you'd trust me enough to know that I wasn't going to actually
without telling you a damn thing.
Yeah. And in public, being a dick to you.
Yeah. And not even really public. Like, he was a dick to her when it was, like, him and her and maybe Fulk. Like, that's semi-private.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, I get putting on, like, a show for your bros, but, like, come on, dude. Like, it's not necessary.
Agreed. And he's not even his bro, apparently.
Yeah. Well, obviously not, because now he's dead.
Well, he killed him. Yeah. And then he says that he realized in the ballroom, so only tonight did he realize that she was furious. Even though, didn't he tell her to be good and be obedient when he went to her room? And she was like, what the fuck? So he had to know before the ballroom.
And, like, why couldn't he give her, like, a symbol of, like a signal or, like, something just to be, like, I don't know, like, the night of. Like, I understand him saying he needed her to play a part. And maybe the, like, lead up of her being, like, really annoyed about it. But, like, even when he's, like, giving her to him and when she has to serve him, even him saying, I'll take care of it, or something like that. Mm-hmm. And, like, but I feel like he could have done so much more to put her at ease. And, like, I know that's the point, that he's a terrible person and we're not supposed to like him and he only thinks of himself. I get that. Like, I understand the premise of him being a, like, shit person. So, like, he's not supposed to do things to put her at ease. He's not supposed to help her out. But I just feel like if he loved her, he could have handled it in a very different way.
Oh, definitely.
You know, even, like, just literally, like, slipping her a note right before the ball to be like, play along or something.
Yeah, but he was in her room, and wasn't that last week he came to her room and I was like and he was like, hey, be obedient.
Yeah.
Like, that's not helpful, and that doesn't make you think that
he said
everything's gonna be
okay. What,
trust
me and be good or something like that?
I don't know. But I think this just emphasizes more, because like we said last week, if the soldier didn't show up,
yes, what would have happened?
He wasn't going to stop Fulk from touching her. I don't think. And I think the reason that he didn't do any of the stuff that he could have done to, like,
because he was prepared,
her feelings.
He was prepared to let him have her. And now he's sort of saving it. He's trying to backtrack to save his relationship with her.
I think it's two things. I think, yes, that is the one reading of it. I think the second reading of it is the author wants the reader to know that he didn't care and that he would have let it happen. I think it's very intentional, like, where we don't have his point of view, we can't get into his thoughts. I think it's very intentional by the author to be like, this is showing that he would have let it happen if circumstances didn't go the way they did. So he said that, yeah, he figured she trusted him enough, blah, blah, blah. So she blushes and says, sorry for defying you in front of everyone in the ballroom. So she's apologizing now. And he tells her that it's all right. So he accepts her apology by the end
God,
of this.
what a vomit.
And that is 100% the way it goes. That is how they turn it on you. And that is, yep.
Ugh.
I hate it. So he gets a towel for her and dries her off and puts her in a nightgown. And then he brings her to her room and they lie on her bed and he rubs her back. And she thinks this is what she's been missing, him holding her. And she wonders the last time he held her like this. And she thinks it must have been months. And she says that he used to hold her every night. And he says he did, but it probably wasn't the best thing to do for a newlywed man. You're like, then why did you... What? Fuck off. And then she says if the queen was jealous, she had a strange way of showing it because she gifted him 3 royal saddles for his birthday. And I'm like, yeah, that's because she was jealous of the feelings between you two and wanted to put a fissure between, like, your relationship with these
just
saddles.
Like, okay, I understand men are different, but can you imagine, just imagine, having 5 different people that you have to regularly have sex with? Well, like now, God, how many royal saddles does he have?
Yeah, well, he always has 6 at a time, and they have a royal harem. And, like, later this week, we get that there's, like, carriages full of them.
So, like, think of it. Like, and I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, so, say, perchance, he has, what, 10? Then you got 6 at a time. You got a few with spares in case somebody gets an injury or something.
A cramp.
You could sub them in, you know? It's like a sports team. So, like, that's 12 people to satisfy. Because you got 10, then you got Auren, and then you got the queen. And now I know he doesn't really have sex with the queen anymore, but, like, that is...
Well, they're trying to have a kid still, I thought.
No, I don't think so, because she said there's a reason why. Why don't you come to my bed? It's not my fault you don't come to my bed anymore. And he was like, it's not my fault you're barren, and you won't produce me a child, so, like, fuck you. So, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just, like... I'm exhausted thinking about it.
Sorry, yeah.
Like,
I'm just laughing at your yawn because it was perfectly placed.
I'm exhausted thinking about it. As proven.
Yeah.
By the yawn.
Yeah.
That, like, having to, like, and I know that, again, I understand that his pleasure is at the forefront. You know what I mean? Like,
just wait.
No, I know. I know. But, like, I understand that his pleasure is at the forefront of all these interactions with the saddles. Like, it has no pressure of getting any of them off. It is their job to pleasure him, not the other way around.
Yeah, we saw that week 1 where they were, like, a lot of them didn't get off, and he was just like, and leave. Yeah. And, like, the guy had just had his dick in someone's mouth and was just like, well, I guess I'll walk away with a hard
But, like,
dick.
I wonder if they take care of each other back in the harem.
Yeah, that's what Auren wondered, too.
So, Auren and I are same page. But, like, I would, even without the pressure of having to worry about someone else's orgasm, I would still be exhausted having that many people that expected me to have sex with them regularly. Like, yeah, I'm okay with 100%. One. Like, I do okay with one person. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need that added pressure. So, like, yeah, and the fact that he's a king too, right? He's got a lot going on. He has a lot on his plate. So, like,
yeah, I guess, but if everyone's there just to please you...
Yeah, but then it'd be over in, like, 2 minutes. Just think about it.
Then it's over
if
in
you
2
have
minutes,
6 people who are hell-bent on getting you off, you'd be done in a minute, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's not for me. And, like, then, if it's only a minute, what's the point in getting everybody together?
Yeah, they literally talk about the first week how they, like, had to disassemble a bed and reassemble it in this room because that's where he wanted to have sex.
I know. Can you imagine being like, I'm gonna have sex in this room today. Everybody get my bed ready. Like, I would not want everyone to know if and when I'm having sex.
Well, yeah, but he's having sex in, like, an atrium. Like, he wants Auren there to watch him, knowing that she's not going to participate. He said, made him harder knowing that she's watching.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Sorry, we went off on a tangent there, but it's fine.
So yeah, he was gifted 3 royal saddles for his birthday, and Auren was shocked and jealous that his wife encouraged him to have sex with other women, which I think is just because she was I think the wife was jealous of his relationship with Auren, which also fair. It is shitty to be like, I'm bringing my mistress into this marriage because you have no power, so you have no say.
Yikes.
Yeah. The first time he had sex, she was gutted, and she still is, but he's a king, so what did she expect? And he says that when they're here together, it's just the two of them, and nothing else exists outside of the cage. And she says that she knows. And he says, you're mine. And he, like, looks at her with, like, lust in his eyes. And I'm like, she just almost died, man. Like, are we serious right now?
It is not the time.
But he holds her head and kisses her and grabs her ass. And he says that he missed her. And she looked beautiful tonight. And then he pulls up her nightgown and they kiss. And she says, I missed you too. And he pulls her up and takes off her dress, and she undoes his pants, and then he's just in her immediately. Like, no foreplay. I was just like, oh, really? Just, like, right in there. Just slipped on in.
Amazing.
Cool. And they're having sex, and she's loving it. And she thinks he takes and takes, and I give it all. I'm like, is that what you're supposed to be thinking during sex? Because if it is, I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, no, not in my bedroom.
I thought that it was about both of you, not just about
not
him.
in my house.
So she works to give him pleasure, to give him what he needs to make him happy.
So it's safe to say she's never had an orgasm.
With him.
But like, who else?
God.
There's nobody else. So
Herself, alone,
can
masturbating.
I just say, though, that, like, this is sort of my issue with, like, oh, God. Is her having sex with him at the age of 15. Is now she assumes that this is the norm. You know what I'm saying? Like, she has been having sex with him for 10 years, since the age of 15. 15, she doesn't know any better. She doesn't realize that, hey, girls can get off as well, and should. So, like, if your man ain't doing it for you, girls, ladies, he should be. Or your other partner, if regardless of gender. If whoever is in your bed,
should be having conversations.
if whoever is in your bed is not giving you an orgasm, you should talk about it, because they should be. They should be working for it.
Yeah.
So, like, unless there's issues that you guys have talked about. But anyway, so, like, this is what bothers me, is that 15-year-old girls know nothing about their sexual their sexual preferences, or, like, or what they like, what helps get them off. And, like, he's just been taking advantage of that for 10 years. And now he's a king, so he can, but, like, it's stupid. He's an idiot schmidiot.
He really is. And I don't love the, like, I have to imagine she's masturbated, right? Like, she's had to have orgasms before.
Has she?
Like, I don't want this to be, I don't know.
Like, that's my thing. Are royal saddles allowed?
Well, then they wouldn't be allowed to help each other out.
I
afterwards.
know.
But Auren would know that if they weren't allowed.
Good point.
She
but again, like, as you said last week, she is so stilted in her growth
That's
that, like,
true.
maybe she doesn't know about masturbation.
I just, like, I figured it out when I was very young.
So did I, but... Well, yeah, no, it is a story around my family, like, yeah.
Oh.
But, like,
Sin.
in fairness, in my defense, nobody ever told me. I was, like, 6, 7 years old. 6, 7.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, I was, like, a very young child. And, like, I would, like, nothing scandalous, but, like, oh my god, how much am I going to reveal?
No, if you're doing something and it feels good, you're going to do it.
Yeah, and, like, I had a rocking horse that I used to, like, used to rock on completely innocently. Like, it was just a rocking horse. And I used to do it in front of I had a little TV in my room, like a little small one. And I used to do it. And, like, obviously, when something feels good, you keep doing it. And nobody ever sat me down and said, what you are doing, I understand feels nice, but that is something you do in private. And, nobody ever did that.
Yeah.
Not one single person. So, like, I had no idea that's what it was.
Of course
until
not.
I was, like, almost an adult.
Yeah.
Now, in saying that, nobody ever told me about, like, I was 14 before I realized that a vagina and a urethra are two separate orifices.
Oh God, I only knew that, like, once we did sex ed.
But see, I didn't do sex ed in school. So, like, in my, like, I know we're not that far apart, so I don't really understand where the divide is here, but I remember technically, we were supposed to get the quote-unquote talk in school when I was in the 5th grade at the end of the year. However, my parents pulled me out 10 days early because we were going on vacation. So I missed that entire thing. My parents, God love them, didn't think that they needed to have that conversation with me to replace the one that I missed in school. And then when I got to, like, health class in junior high, like grade 7, 8, and 9, I don't remember a lot of it from grade 7 and 8 because it was in French. I did French immersion, and I did late French immersion, so it was my first time doing it, so I don't think I absorbed very much of it. And then by the time I got to grade 9, all we learned about were STIs.
Yeah. Well, it's all abstinence and STIs.
Yeah. Like, we didn't learn anything about body parts, about what was involved in anything. I literally learned about all the different STIs, and we looked at pictures, and it was gross.
Yeah.
So, like, and then I think we had, like, my school had a scandal where they hired somebody to give us a talk, like, the entire population of the school. So we all went into the gym, and we sat down to hear an assembly, and it was these two, like, hippie dippies playing the guitar and singing to us about abstinence and saving yourself for marriage. And it was really sketchy. They didn't vet the speakers enough. Yeah. So, like, anyway, so yeah, like, the only reason I knew is about the urethra and the vagina being separate is because I remember, like, obviously when I first started my period in grade 9, I wore pads, and then I remember eventually I wanted to try or I needed a situation where I had to wear a tampon. And so I was trying to put it in, and I was trying to put it on my urethra because that's where I remember pee coming out of, so I was like, well, the same thing. And I remember my aunt having to tell me and, like, draw me a diagram about how they're separate. And she was only 9 years older than me, so I felt okay with her, like, explaining it to me. But, like, that's how I found out. So I was in, like, if I wasn't in the 10th grade, I was in the summer going to the 10th grade or something like that. Like, before I knew. because not one single person sat down and had that conversation with me, and there was no internet. Like, there was, but not in the way there is now. Because that was...
It wasn't in the palm of your hand.
Well, no, that was what, 22, 23 years ago. So, like, it was so different than what it is now. I couldn't just look stuff up. Like, I could, but you would...
But what, like, I wouldn't even have known what
No,
to look
me
up.
neither.
Like, I was the same way, so I swam while I was a kid, and I got my period pretty young. But if I didn't start using tampons, I'd have to miss a full week of swimming every month, which was unreasonable, especially since, like, we weren't rolling in money if you're paying for something. So and I don't blame my parents for it. I'm not gonna have kids, so I don't care. But, like, my parents gave me a box of tampons, a thing of lube. Put me in the bathroom. Yeah, because I was, like, 12. Like, you're sticking it up. Like, they were like, this'll help get it in. I used lube with my tampons for a while because I was just, like, a baby. So, they gave it to me. No, they gave me the box of tampons and the lube. That was it. I was in the bathroom. It feels like 4 hours. I don't know how long it was. Just trying to figure it out on my own. And, like, looking at this piece of paper that it had a diagram on it, but I didn't really understand it. So I was just there by myself, and nobody would... I was crying. Like, it's not a great memory. Kind of traumatic. I'm sure I'll talk about it in therapy someday. But, like, just, like... wishing somebody would help me, and like my parents were like, we can't help you, and I was just like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing here? What a fucker.
See, you're so much nicer than I am, because I love my parents to death, like but I totally blame them. I do not understand why I never got a conversation about the birds and the bees, about like the act of, like, it was just a complete non-conversation in my household. And I don't know why, because we weren't, like, super religious people. My parents believe in God, and, like, they went to church as kids, but it wasn't this, like, whole thing of we can't talk about it because of religious things. Like, they just didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
So, like, the first conversation about sex that I remember having was in 7th or 8th grade. I was in the girls' change room at school getting ready for gym class, and everybody was talking about the last time when they started their period, and me saying, I haven't started mine yet, and somebody saying, are you sexually active? And me saying no, and them saying, well, you should probably get on that because you can have sex now without getting pregnant. Like, that's legit the first conversation I remember having, and it was with peers.
You know what? Awful advice, but they're not.
I know, they're not wrong.
That's so bad, guys.
So I was like 12, 13 years old, and a bunch of girls were telling me that I should go out and have sex because there's no repercussions.
Meanwhile, is so funny, but so
I'd
awful.
never even, like, really kissed someone before.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we've gotten very much off topic, but, like, it just, those experiences, and maybe we're sort of biased now because of our experiences and how, like, naive we had grown up being, that I just feel so bad that she is accepting this as a loving, healthy sexual relationship when it isn't.
Yes. Yeah. I do. 25. I just can't imagine that. Because, like, I'm sure some of this feels good for her. And obviously, pleasing him feels good for her. Like, that is. She's a people pleaser 101. But you'd think that she'd be like, I don't know. Maybe we'll get it in another book. But if she hasn't had an orgasm yet in her entire life, I'm going to riot.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
Anyway, listen, whatever your parents do in your life, they're gonna fuck you up. There's no right way to raise a child. There are wrong ways to raise a child. I'm not gonna say that either. So he pulls out and just comes on her stomach because obviously he's not trying to have a child with her. And I'm like,
why? He can't have a child any other way. You would think that his, next to his wife, she's the next best option.
Yeah. So if you haven't finished this book, maybe skip ahead 30 seconds. But I'm like, he should be.
I know.
Because that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she just lies on his chest and she smiles. And then a tear falls down her face. And he leaves before dawn. And she starts to cry and starts to sob. And then she falls asleep. And this is one of those moments where you're like, it just feels so real of like, you know that you're in an abusive relationship, but you're trying to convince yourself, like, you want to believe the gaslighting because you genuinely love this person and you think that this is what you want. So it's just so heartbreaking that, like, she knows that, I think deep down she knows that he's a piece of shit, but she forgave him. And she definitely also has some guilt because she feels like it was her fault for not trusting him, which is absolutely. And then we kind of do a time jump. We jump 3 weeks, and she's all packed up, and her guards are taking out her trunks, and Digby tells her it's time. And she has had a lot of nightmares lately where she wakes up screaming, convinced that she's suffocating in her own blood, where, like, Falk cut her neck. And other times, she imagines what would happen if Falk's guard never showed up and he raped her. So she doesn't sleep much. And she wishes Midas was here, but he had to leave 3 days after Falk died with a regiment of soldiers to go to the 5th. And she stood beside him. So this is kind of a flashback. But she stood beside him the day after Falk died. And she thinks the people know about King Midas's golden touch, but his golden tongue is his true power. So we get the flashback to him, like, telling his people that King Falk is dead. And he wanted, like, Midas wanted to stop rot from spreading over their borders and wanted to ensure their territories were safe. No, sorry, Falk wanted that. Falk wanted to stop rot from spreading over their borders and to keep their territories safe, and he was assassinated for it. So he's kind of making Falk a bit of a martyr in this moment, which is the complete opposite of what he said to Auren, which is interesting.
You mean a martyr?
Yeah, what did I say? Mortar and pestle. Martyr, yeah, that's what I did mean to say.
But I do
yes.
think part of this, though, is he's playing it up in public so that him being like, I'm going to go to Fifth Kingdom and help out my ally in this time is better than vilifying him and then making everybody in Fifth Kingdom have their, like, hackles up.
Yeah, he's completely he's saying, like, this is self-sacrificing to go help this other kingdom. Like, that's kind of what he's getting at. But it is kind of like, I think it is showing us and is showing Auren a bit that, like, he's going to turn anything the way that he wants so that, like, he can get what he's going.
But yet with her, he's his true self.
So Midas and the Queen are in the chairs and she's standing behind them. And Midas says that one of Falk's soldiers went into the Fourth Kingdom and warned the enemy. And then that's the same soldier. And then obviously the Fourth Kingdom came and killed the Fifth's army. And then that's the same soldier. He came back and killed the king. Interesting. Way to spin it. Then Midas brought out the head of the, as Auren knows, innocent soldier. She knows that he's innocent. But his head is shiny gold. And Midas says that this is the rot spreading from Forth. And that King Falk was trying to staunch. And Auren knows that the head is going to end up on the front gates, gilded like all of their enemies, and like a show of
Here's my
fear.
question. Do you think it turns solid gold, or do you think it's like gold plated, like just a gold layer on the outside, in which case then the head is going to start to decompose and rot on the inside?
But then eventually it would just like fall out. Maybe.
Yeah, and then leave like an outer shell of gold.
I envision it solid, like the Taskmaster trophy. No, I do envision that it would be solid though, because like I also, if you can gold touch a bird and kill it, like the bird was killed by being gold touched, so I feel like it does solidify.
Okay.
But I don't know, because then there are other things like the pillows and the other shit that's like soft, and I'm like, I don't understand anything. But I do envision it.
Yeah, like I wonder, is there some sort of like, is it just touch it and hope for the best, or is it a intentional like control it?
Yeah.
Is there control?
Well, is it like any magic? The more you use it, the more you practice. Can you like any? I just said, is it like any magic? Like magic's a thing. But yeah, the more you practice it and the more that you try, like learn it, maybe the better range you can have. So yeah, Midas says he's going to go to the Fifth Kingdom and he's going to assist them in their time of need so the lands and people don't suffer. And he'll unite their lands after Folk's death. And he will keep the borders secure to make sure the rot outside the kingdom doesn't touch them until Folk's heir comes to age to take his father's seat. So it's classic it's classic villain mode.
Yeah.
And Midas obviously became a hero and gained more power. And now 3 weeks after that, he sent for her to join him. But it's kind of in secret because everyone already thinks that she's in Fifth. But Midas wanted to keep her safe. But he took a gold-painted decoy saddle, I guess, with him so that everyone thought. And I just don't really understand why this is a part of this, I guess. Like, I don't know why.
Because, like, I agree. Like, I feel like he is super important, right? So, theoretically, he would have a ton of soldiers keeping him safe. Wouldn't taking her with him to keep her safe make the most sense? Because he's going to have the most security, therefore, she should go with him. Like, I understand this idea of deception, but at the same time, we learn, like, very soon that she is instead going with this huge convoy that is super slow moving, that is super, like, full of all of his other royal saddles. And I'm just like, I don't know, like, I just feel that not very smart on his part, because if it were me, I would attack the slow moving convoy.
Imagine.
And I'm not even a war expert here.
I agree. And also, they're going to be apart for, like, at least 5 weeks. Like, how's
he going to get by without sex?
Well, yeah. I'm sure he's still going to have sex. But, like, there are things that are expected of him that he needs her for. Anyway, you just think that he wouldn't have left her. But he took a decoy. And Auren's been guarded every day and night since, which is new, because she didn't used to get guarded at night, which is fucked. And the queen didn't even know she's here. Just Digby and the men that he's approved knew. And she feels odd leaving her cage now. And she thinks, yeah, it was a cage, but she did rely on it for so many years. And as they walk downstairs, she looks towards the room where it all happened and wonders if the guards who cleaned up the blood died with the blood-soaked rags. Which is, like, completely fair. But then she thinks, no, I can't think that. I'm loyal. Like, if you have to talk yourself into being loyal...
Are you loyal?
Just don't. So they're at the doors now to leave, and the queen looks down, and Auren sees the hate on the queen's face because she's realizing that Auren was here the whole time.
Yeah, like...
And I'm just like, what's the point of this?
Yeah, I know. Like, why keep it from the queen? And, like, how did she not know that there were people guarding her all the time?
Just check her cages. Is she there? Yes.
So, like
she can't
Does
leave.
the queen never go in the library?
Right. Fucked. So a guard gives her a coat, and she walks outside for the first time in 10 years. And she stands outside and thinks that she hid in the cage to keep others away, but she missed this. But that's just such an interesting line, that she stayed in her cage to keep other people away. It's just like so kind of telling of the life that she led up to this point. A guard says that they should go, and she looks up and she thinks that she sees a star blink down at her, which she thinks that the stars are goddesses, so she winks up at it. So then she's in a carriage by herself, and a dozen other saddles are in another carriage. And they're on their way to the fifth.
That's so many.
And I think it's more than one carriage of them. Like, it's just a fuckery.
Well, theoretically, you would think that you could fit between 4 and 6 in a carriage. Yeah. So, presumably, there's at least maybe 2 other carriages. 3 if we're being generous.
We're probably not
all
being
right.
generous. Although they have all their shit to take too, so who knows? Except for not too much shit, because, you know. All the guards are on horseback, and it's like sleeting out. And they're going to travel nights and then sleep during the day, but the guards can watch during the day. But it'll take 2 weeks to get there. So literally, she's going to be away from the king for at least 5 weeks.
The poor dears.
Yeah. But she wants to see the world. So she, like... And it's just such a change, and I don't know if it's, like, maybe it's a reasonable change. I don't know. But to go from a cage to be like, I don't want to sit in this carriage. Just like such a shift in her, and maybe it's showing that she's changing as a person a bit, and that she doesn't want to be held back. Not 100% sure. But she knocks on her carriage door, and Digby looks over, and before he can stop her, she jumps onto the ground, and he tells her to get back inside of the carriage, but she says that she needs to stretch her legs, and she asks to ride a horse. And obviously he doesn't want her to because it's freezing. But he allows it and says if the weather gets worse or she gets cold, she has to go inside. And they're still in the city, and he does ask if she knows how to ride, and she says, of course.
Of course. I've only been cooped up in a castle in a cage for 10 years.
Yeah, right? I haven't been outside. And she does, to be fair, she doesn't actually think that she knows for sure if she does, but she's going to try. So she gets a white horse named Crisp and pulls herself up and over the horse, and she's proud of herself. But everyone looks at her like scandalized, and it's just annoying. And Digby just glares at them, and they move on. And she asks Digby what's up, and he says that ladies don't normally sit astride. But she forgot about that, so she's sitting astride. And she hears Polly in the other carriage say that she does like to spread her legs after all.
Like Polly can fucking talk.
Yes. Why? But I guess that's the thing. The other saddles are like, oh, she doesn't like sex. She doesn't want to go have sex with folk. Like, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, you don't want to participate in our group orgies. It's like...
Well, she does. She has to. Which is the saddest part. But yes, I'm sure the girls don't know that she actually wants to participate. But she doesn't even want to participate. She just wants Midas to look at her. So yeah, she goes to ask Digby if she should, and we presume not ride astride. But he says that she'll be more secure like this and not to worry about them. And in the streets, like, the villagers and people are watching them go by, and she stays under her hood so that people can't tell who she is, because obviously she has golden skin and she's very well known. And all of the other saddles in their carriage just wave, and they're topless. And I'm like...
Wait, the ones in the carriage?
Yeah!
No, they're not!
Why? Why
No,
are they topless?
They can't be.
I bolded it because I was like, what the fuck? And by bolded, I mean caps. All caps. But the whole time? Like, do they ever put shirts on?
It's cold outside.
There's a snowstorm. I don't understand.
They have to have coats. And why are they just sitting around each other with no tops on?
I don't understand.
Just boobs
I was
out.
like, this is a choice
They're
that
all
was made.
Boobs McGee over here.
They are. So then one saddle, I guess, whispers to a guard something generous, and Auren looks at him and thinks that he's handsome and asks his name. And his name is Sale. And she says that he's popular with the ladies, and he says that his mom would wallop him if he ever disrespected a woman enough to force her to sleep with him for a few coins. And Auren's like, oh, he's a good guy. But she also says that being a saddle is one of the only jobs that women can have to be independent and make their own money, which is kind of what we spoke about a bit last week, and I do like that it's in the book. And he says that he didn't mean to be disrespectful, and she says as long as he doesn't look down on saddles, it's fine. And he says, of course not. And he says that saddles actually put up with more than the armies do. And Auren looks around and sees people leering at the saddles, and she tells Sale that they can agree on that.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So, as word, they're traveling by carriage, obviously, and there's, a whole, I don't even know how many carriages it is. There's definitely a lot.
Yeah.
So, they're traveling with this huge, fleet of carriages and, wagons and soldiers and horses. So, obviously, they're driving through town. People hear about it, and they get excited, because they're like, ooh, someone from the palace. And then they, start lining the streets to watch and wave and, see who's in there, because they don't know who's in there. And Auren just, tries to keep her head down and her hood up so that the people don't know she's there, because there's a concern about, her safety.
Yeah. She's super recognizable.
Yeah, obviously. She's all gold. So they turn off the main road and start heading for the slums of High Bell, because I guess whatever way they have to go, they end up having to go through the slums. And Auren notices that the lightness of the city proper, of the main area of the city, is gone. And it's really sad and depressing in the slums, obviously. But all they can hear are screaming babies and men shouting. And Sale, who is one of the guards that is directed to ride next to her, tells her that normally we'd stay on the main road, but because we're heading to the Fifth Kingdom, they have to go this way. So the city changes from stone buildings to wood buildings, and the cobblestone paths become muddy paths, and there are fewer and fewer street lights, and the smell in the air, she says it smells like pee and sweat, essentially. So it's really gross.
Yeah.
And she asks Sale, where are we? And he's like, oh, we're in the shanties. And as much as I don't like that there are shanties, I also really appreciate the word shanties.
Yeah.
Because it's the name of a sea shanty is the name of a fun song. I know this isn't fun.
Yeah.
But I do like the name.
That's fair.
So she's like, oh, how long has it been like this? And he's like, it's always been like this. And he's like, I'm from the east side. It's not as bad as this, but similar. And there are puddles on the ground because people are just dumping their pee out the window. And Auren is super confused, because she's like, Midas has all this gold. So why? And she's like, she just assumed that when Midas became king and turned everything gold, that High Bell became a really wealthy city, and that none of the citizens would be poor anymore. And now I will say that while I do agree with her, I also think she doesn't understand economics.
No, of course not.
Because unfortunately, that's not how life works. If I've learned anything from TikTok...
That's where you're getting your economics? Did you... Jesus Christ.
Yes, that is where I'm getting my economics.
Okay.
Thank you. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you.
You kind of are. Listen, I took economics in high school and I barely passed. I got a 55.
That's fair.
I took it in French, which was I had to. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But, first mistake. And I will be honest, it soured my opinion on economics and business courses throughout the rest of my educational career. I never took a business course at university. I never took an economics course because it just ruined me. I don't have the brain for it.
That's fair. Not everyone has the brain for everything, and that's fine.
So I feel like I'm Auren in this moment.
I do think that, obviously she doesn't understand how things are going. She's been in a cage for 10 years.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if he ever outright lied to her about the money and about the gold. If he was ever like, oh, this is going to help the people. If he ever told her that. And now she's realizing that it's all a lie.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like maybe they didn't even discuss it. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe did she just assume he was doing the right thing with the money?
Yeah, I don't know, because it just feels like they must have had more conversations than we're aware of.
Maybe.
If you haven't finished the book, skip ahead 30 seconds. I hope this happens during this book. Did we find out the twist this book? Don't we?
I think at the end of this book, yeah.
Yeah. Because, he has to be asking her to turn things gold all the time.
Yeah, I feel like that's half of what they do at night.
So I'm like, what? Why would she never ask or he never bring up that, does he say that some of it's for people and then not give a fuck and only give it to the rich?
I don't know.
I
feel like he would just say, I need it.
Yeah. And she'd say, how high?
Anyway, but yeah, so I guess she is just confused that the poor are still poor.
Rightfully so. He's rich as fuck.
But again, the more gold he gives away, the less rare gold is, meaning the more gold you will need in order to be able to afford things. If everybody has as much gold as they needed, then they would no longer trade in gold.
Yeah.
Gold would lose its value. So,
But this is to the point that, he obviously hasn't done anything.
Correct.
It's not just... Because it's not... It would be different if this was just, if this was the whole world. But they also trade with other places that don't have unlimited gold. So, he could be trading with other places for other things and then using that to help the poor. He doesn't need to give them gold, per se.
No.
But, he should be able to feed them all by buying food from other places. Because this is a place where it's snowing all the time. Wherever they get their food from.
Yeah, they're not getting it from there.
I assume not.
Yeah. Anyway, so she says that out loud. And Sale says, maybe he does other things with the gold. Worthwhile things. But...
turn you gold.
Yeah, but, he said that he looks guilty because he is wearing gold-plated armor. And, he is someone that is from shanties. So the fact that now he's wearing gold-plated armor and, can't use it to help his family and his neighbors, I would assume is quite distressing.
Yeah.
So, everyone is worried that the party is going to get robbed because they're in this super sketchy neighborhood. But Auren actually sees a group of starving, dirty kids. And she had managed to convince earlier Digby to let her ride a horse instead of being in the carriage. So she was riding a horse alongside Sale, and the carriage was empty. And so she gets off the horse and, like, rifles through her bag in the carriage and goes over to this group of kids. And there's about 12 of them. And they all sort of, like, step back from her, except this one little 4-year-old. And the 4-year-old says, "Are you a princess?" And Auren's like, "No, are you?" And the little girl is like, "What are you talking about? We live in the slums. Like, obviously we're not. I'm not a princess." But then she's like, "Oh, maybe you're all secret princes and princesses living in the streets." And at that moment, I was like, oh my god, is this foreshadowing? Is she a secret princess because she was living in the streets?
Is Auren?
Yeah. That's where my brain went.
Yeah. But I kind of feel like she thinks that she's living like a princess now because she's in love with a king.
Right.
So I think that, like, she is relating it to her life, but more so in that, like, she became special and ended up at a castle, so any of these kids could do the same.
Right. Okay.
But I did wonder, like, is this little girl ever going to come back? Is she
going to be a secret princess?
Yeah.
No, but my thought is that Auren is a secret princess.
Yeah, she could be.
But again, that must be a later one of the later book reveals if it's true.
And very well could happen,
yeah,
because we didn't read those.
Exactly. So she gives each kid a gold coin, and as soon as they have it, they're gone. And she leaves the little 4-year-old last and gives the little 4-year-old the whole pouch. And there's 3 coins in it. And she tells her to use one, hide one, and give one away. And then the little girl runs off. So, like, so Digby is, like, annoyed because she is putting herself in harm's way. And, like, demands that she get back to the carriage. And, like, she doesn't really understand why he's so pissy about it. But then she turns and, like, there's a bunch of people out and about. Like, they've crowded around. And they all saw her give a gold coin to each kid. Mm-hmm. And she's like, that much money, like, 1 gold coin is enough money to kill 4 for these people. So she's like, oh, shit.
That little girl, I hope she's not a princess, because she gonna be dead.
Well, yes, that is a concern. Like, she is worried about people going after the children now.
Yeah.
But the problem is that now the people see who she is. And they start to get closer. So she's like, oh shit, I'll get in the carriage and escape. But, like, right before she reaches the carriage, some dude attacks her. And he's like, just 1 piece of your hair! And, like, wants to rip out some of her hair. And, like, obviously Digby gets there first and punches the guy to the ground and, like, gets his sword out. And so Auren gets in the carriage and they start to go, but then she hears fighting outside. And the carriage, like, goes pretty swift. And she's like, well, shit, I'm an idiot. Because she's not thinking about, oh, shit, and I'm an idiot, I almost got attacked. She's thinking, oh, shit, I'm an idiot. These poor people are now being attacked for attacking me. Mm-hmm. Like, she feels bad for the people that are being attacked with weapons right now. And possibly dying. So she's just like, oh, these poor people, they've been through so much. I don't want them to get hurt. And I'm like, how selfless are you? It's not like, oh, shit, they attacked me. It's, oh, they attacked me out of desperation. I feel so bad. I hope they don't get hurt.
Yeah, I do think that it's all just her trauma response, though, because she lived through it. But
that's true.
It is very much like, Midas is a piece of shit and she's a saint. It's like,
yes.
That's not how people work.
It is very much a dichotomy between the two. Like, they are trying to show you just how saintly she is versus how shitty Midas is.
Yeah.
And I will say that, like, I'm annoyed that as much of the book is about their relationship as it is. You know what I mean? Like, I wish we got to the meat of the story sooner.
Yeah. Same.
Like, I understand why it's done the way it's done. Like, I know we need a build up and blah, blah, blah. But, like, I just wish it was a little quicker.
Yeah.
So she just thinks that she's an idiot for flashing that much wealth in the poor area, but like she saw the kids and it reminded her of herself, and again, like you said, she had a trauma response. And like she also feels super guilty that they have to look up at a golden castle and be reminded of all they don't have. Like, he has gilded the entire castle. Even the toilets are gold.
Yeah.
So she's like, they are literally looking at a gold castle and they are living in squalor and feels really shitty about it.
Which is fair.
So here's another, like, tidbit. So she says she wishes that the sun came up because they travel at night, and that there were more coins in her pouch, and she wished she could have bathed the streets in gold. So that's it's an interesting way to phrase it, I'll say.
It is. You would think that she would understand that money and gold can't give you everything.
Yeah.
Because presumably, yeah, I don't know. Don't know. Anyway, not really the point.
Yeah. Anyway, so she realizes that if a city ruled by a golden king still has poor people, what hope does Aurea have? So, like, I almost feel like she's already, I don't want to say forgiving Midas, but she's already assuming that ending the poverty of his people is beyond his control, even as king, with unlimited wealth. Yeah. So she's already being like, well, he's not at fault.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I understand that it's a conditioned response. He's manipulated her well, but it really annoys me.
Yeah, at some point you're just like, okay, something's got to get through to you.
Yeah. Anyway, so they reach the outer limits of the city, and they stop again. So there are no houses out here, but, like, there's a really gross smell, and none of them know what it is. So Auren gets out of the carriage again, and Sale follows her around, and Auren sees finally what the smell is. It's bodies hanging from trees. And Sale tells her that they are rotting corpses, and that they've been getting them all week from King Rot. So, is King Rot Fourth Kingdom? Yes.
Yeah.
So, looks like the Fourth Kingdom has been sending the dead bodies of King Fulk's soldiers back to the Fifth Kingdom. And Sixth Kingdom, I mean. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I just jumped down your throat.
Sorry. How dare you? How dare you correct me when I'm wrong? This is unacceptable. But yeah, so I guess they are King's Folk soldiers, and they are in various states of decomposition. So they're all assuming, I think, that he used his magic to, like, put them that way.
Which is kind of funny, because it's, like, also been over a month. He could have just let them rot on their own.
But I guess this is sort of my question about decomposition, because I was under the impression that the first couple of days smelled, but then after that, the smell went away. Unless he's magically preserving them in a certain state of decomposition, and they're not
getting any worse. Yeah.
Because I swear, like, I watch a ton of, like, Bones, and, like, I've watched Criminal Minds and Psych, and, like, all these shows that have death in them. And I could have sworn in a couple of them at least, they've mentioned that, like, yeah, the first few days of decomposition, the body reeks, but after that, the smell sort of goes away. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a mortician. I'm not a whatever the person Woody is in Psych. Coroner. Not that either. So I have no idea. I'm not good at I don't know anything about dead bodies, but I could have sworn that was a thing.
I don't know. I'm also not going to Google it just in case.
What, you don't want to be implicated?
Yeah, what if I someday someone and then that's in my search history?
Well, I'm going to look it up. Oh, first thing. The smell from a dead body is caused by bacteria breaking down tissues and can last from days to months depending on factors like temperature, humidity, and whether the body is exposed to air or animals. In a typical indoor environment, the odor can become noticeable within a few days and linger for weeks, but it can be reduced over time by environmental conditions or professional cleaning.
Professional cleaning.
But it also says temperature, like a refrigerator morgue, the smell will be significantly reduced.
And they are in a
frozen wasteland, so you would think that the smell wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, it's definitely something to do with rot as a person, making it smell more.
Okay, fine. Although,
I would assume.
Do you know what's funny?
What?
When I looked it up in my browser, it just said, how long do dead bodies smell? And the very first thing it says is there's a little eye with a line through it, and it says, safe search is locked to filter by safety settings applied to this browser. So, for some reason, it won't tell me the nitty gritty.
Is it your work computer?
Yes.
I love it.
Anyway, it's fine. Right?
Yeah. Just as long as you don't kill somebody. That's the real thing.
Oh, okay. I'll make sure to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So Sale tells her that King Rot is sending the dead bodies to both them in the Sixth Kingdom and also Fifth Kingdom. And Auren doesn't really get that because she's like, Midas wasn't involved in, none of his soldiers attacked. So,
yeah.
Why would Rot be sending soldiers to them?
And he covered it well.
Yeah, he covered it up. And Sale's like, maybe because Midas was Folk's ally and was a well-known ally.
Yeah, but it's also Folk's men knew that they were supposed to meet Midas's army.
Yeah.
So if he talked to one soldier before killing them, even if he didn't torture them, he would have figured that out.
That's true. So these sort of demonstrations just show that King Ra is pissed off, and don't mess with him because he will send you body parts.
Yeah.
So
what a piece of shit.
Yeah, right. So Digby approaches, and Auren thinks that he's going to lecture her about how unsafe she was with the kids, but instead he just tells her to stay in the carriage next time. So it seems like he appreciates what she did, even though he was concerned for her safety.
Yeah, we're trying to show he's actually a good guy.
He's not a terrible piece of shit, unlike Midas. Mm-hmm. Because now we get a comparison that Midas would have flipped his lid if he knew what she did. So, again, we're getting this very obvious line in the sand that Midas is a piece of shit.
Yeah, it just makes me forget what happens in the next 3 books because of we've already established he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I guess Auren needs to figure it out too.
Yes, and I do think that will take some time.
Yeah.
So Sale tells her he likes what she did because it shows that she cares and that she saw those kids and that no one else would have stopped for them. And she's like, he would have. Sale would have also stopped for the kids. If he had the means to give them money, he would have stopped immediately. And he's a good kid.
I'm suspicious of him for no reason. And I know what happens. But for some reason, I'm just this kid is bad. I just assume everybody's in it to kill her or hurt her. I don't know. I'm he's lying. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, so I don't. Originally, when I read this, I thought that maybe he was going to be a love interest. Like, maybe he was the third, or the third point in the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
That was my original thought. But then she sort of, like, saying he's a good kid, it sort of takes away from that a bit. Like, she's relegating him to child and not to potential lover.
Yes.
So, but yeah, no, I love Sale, and I know a lot of people do. Like, he is one of the bright lights for the fandoms.
Mm-hmm.
So they travel for a while, and then they stop and make camp for the night. And someone puts up a tent for her with furs on the ground, and she just goes to bed. And then she wakes up, and she's sore, but, like, she's super glad that she's outside, not in a cage.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also, like, concerned about what's going to happen when she reaches the Fifth Kingdom. Because, like, she's like, the world isn't breaking, crushing her right now. So she's, like, thinking maybe she doesn't have to live her life in a cage.
Makes sense.
Maybe.
To me.
Maybe. So, like, I don't know. It's frustrating reading it and being like, no shit, you don't have to live your life in a cage. But, like, she genuinely, and, like, Midas has conditioned her genuinely to feel that is what's best for her safety.
Yeah.
And, like, I get that obviously she must have had a shit ton of trauma in order to feel
believe
this
that
way.
That's true. Yeah.
But, like, holy shit, can you imagine?
No.
It's brutal in my brain.
Yeah.
So, she is still achy, like, when they get going the following night, but she doesn't stop riding on the horse. And then we get, like, a time jump. It's, like, a week. So they've been traveling for a whole week. And I'm like, surely this is the worst way to travel. Like, if he genuinely cared about Auren's safety, and I do believe that he does, wouldn't it have made more sense for her to travel with a small group quickly as opposed to a big old dirty convoy slowly?
Yeah. It just, even if he doesn't care about her safety, you'd think he'd, like, care enough. But yeah, it's just confusing me. Because I'm like, I don't know.
I also don't understand, like, I also find it weird that he's like, you live in a cage. Actually, I need to go to another kingdom for a little bit. Want to come with me? Like, why wouldn't he leave her there where he knows she's safe? Why risk her at all?
Yeah.
Like, and I know the answer. But I'm pretending at this point that I don't.
But that's why I'm like, knowing the answer, why didn't he bring her in the beginning?
When he went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like you said, bring a smaller convoy.
But, like, in my brain, he didn't take her with him because it's one of those, like, two parents on an airplane thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, some parents are like, let's take separate air flights in case one of us, the plane goes down. The other one still has our children, or our children still have one of us or something. So that's in my brain as to why she didn't go with him. But
yeah, but I don't think he's selfless enough for that.
No, you're right. And he needs some skin on the cold nights.
Yeah.
But I guess that doesn't matter when he's conquering another kingdom. Anyway, so she keeps riding the horse every day or every night, even though it's super sore. Her muscles are super sore because it's been ages since she's had this much exercise. And she's like, I don't like being cooped up in the carriage. And I'm just like, this is ironic considering you live in a cage.
Yeah. But it's like she's having a turning moment, but she's also like, I can never be in a cage again. And it's like, well, this isn't a cage. It's a carriage to keep you safe during the journey.
Like, even just safe from the weather.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you can open the door. You can look out the window.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's just odd that she's like, oh, I hate being cooped up in that carriage.
Yeah.
So, her and Sale talk most of the time. But she doesn't talk to him about her past. But she also didn't realize how much she needed a connection, like a friend. Because, like, she really didn't have it. The only person she had in the castle was Midas. And he,
which
didn't visit her that often. And Digby. And he didn't talk to her. Everybody else was so mean. So, like, she really needed a friend.
Yeah.
And then she wonders what it would be like if she loved someone like Sale. And I'm like, love interest, what?
Yeah, that is a fair point.
But then at the same time, she's like, oh, it'd be so easy if I loved someone like him. And that's like the death knell for any relationship.
In a book,
yes.
But in real life, it's like, this is so easy, it's perfect.
Yes. But, like, in books, as soon as someone says, oh, it would be so easy if I loved you like that, and it's like, well, shit, they're never getting together.
Yeah.
Right?
It is, yeah.
So she's, like, in a ton of pain from riding the horse, because apparently riding a horse for days on end really makes your muscles sore. So Digby tells...
When you haven't done anything ever.
Yeah. So Digby's like, just get in the carriage, you're hurting. And she's like, yeah, a few more minutes. And Sale is like, well, there's gonna be a storm soon, so, like, maybe you should get inside. And then, like, they're sort of walking the horses next to the carriage that has the rest of the saddles in it, because they all ride together. And Polly is, like, hanging out the window of one of the carriages. And she is just a bitch. And I was like...
Just to be a bitch.
I know, because there's no one around to impress. Like, yeah. She literally is being a bitch for the sake of being a bitch. And I'm sort of sad because I really... with a name like Polly, you'd think they'd be nice. Fair I'm sorry, just the name Polly inspires... niceness.
That's fair.
I don't know. But it does for me. So, Auren sort of anticipated that traveling with the other saddles would, like, create a bond between them. But it really doesn't. They don't interact. And, like, they stay in their carriages and tents, and she stays in hers. They do not talk to her. And Polly just throws out that, like, Midas doesn't call for Auren the way he calls for the rest of them. And, like, just lets her watch so she isn't even really a saddle. So, like, they don't... This is what I don't understand. Like, do they just not know when he goes to visit her?
I guess they... I don't know. I guess not.
Like, does he not... Did they not... Are they not aware that they have sex?
Probably not.
Because, like, wouldn't... Like, to fix this issue, couldn't she say... We had sex with me the night of the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have had sex. We do have sex. Like, I don't understand why she's keeping that to herself.
Yeah, I don't know.
And, like, yeah, I find it weird that Polly is like, he doesn't even call for you. And it's like, how do you know? I don't see how she would know. Like, she doesn't keep track of Midas every second of the day.
Yeah, and she's stuck in the, one would assume, she's stuck in the, like, harem room most of the time.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
until she's called on. So, like, yeah, I don't understand, like, what do you think Midas does with the rest of his time?
Yeah.
Anyway, she also says that no hot-blooded man wants a cold metallic bitch.
It's like... They do, though.
But also... Well, they do, yes. But also, it's again, I keep calling it out, but it's just, like, bitchiness for the sake of bitchiness.
Yeah.
Like, this is just to create conflict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is the only point of this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because No one else is around. There is no reason for Polly to be a bitch. And, like, realistically, there's no reason for her to know, without a shadow of a doubt, what Midas is up to all the time. So how would she know what Midas and Auren get up to?
Yeah.
Anyway, she says, don't worry, she'll keep Midas satisfied. And obviously that makes Auren sad because he's the love of her life. Vomit.
Yeah.
So she rides to the front of the convoy with, like, her feelings hurt. And she just wants to avoid it. She just doesn't say anything. And I'm like, girl, I know that you have the, like, maturity of a 15-year-old right now. But, like, you can't call back. You can't clap back at all. Like, you can't say something, anything, instead of just, like, bowing your head and riding away in shame.
Obviously not.
It's just weird for me. I just want to be like, girl, you can say something, anything. Like, if you really believe that's your man, why would you not defend that? Why would you not defend it and be like, well, actually, we've been together 10 years, even before, like, I was there before he was king, I'll be there long after he's king, bitch, like, what? Something.
Yeah.
Say something. Yeah. Like, I've been there since the beginning, where were you? Like, working in a whorehouse. Like, I don't know.
Anything.
I'm coming up with clapbacks on Auren's behalf.
Yeah. And you're not struggling.
I'm not struggling.
Like she did.
And I suck at clapbacks. Like, I suck at it so bad. So, if I can do it, Auren should be able to do it. Especially if you have the maturity of a 15-year-old, because they are vicious.
Fucking vicious. No, thank you.
Yep. Anyway. So, she knows that she's going to have to confront these feelings eventually. The whole, like, feelings of shame and disappointment that Midas is, like, essentially the male version of a whore. A male whore. Sleeping with everybody. But she just doesn't want to deal with it yet, so she just, like, puts it in the back of her head. And I guess she sort of thought Sale would leave her alone, but he doesn't. He instead, like, rides up to where she is, and he tells her not to mind Polly, she's just jealous. And, like, they must all be really okay with talking about sex, because it's not awkward at all.
Yeah.
So she teases him for the way he looks at one of the saddles, Frilly. I'm like, what the fuck? Whose name is Frilly?
Remember.
Oh, also, interestingly enough, I didn't write it down, I don't think, but all the saddles are in the carriage topless.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. Yes.
And just weird. Why?
Because cold. It's at the very least.
Bizarre. Like, are they having orgies in there without Midas? Are they allowed to do? I know we've talked about this before. I can't imagine
they're allowed to do
that.
But
I mean, who's going to stop them? The guards. Guards not going to say shit to a saddle mid-orgasm.
No. They would join in.
They'd be like, yeah, you want some gold armor with that skin?
It was good.
It was really bad. It was a really bad pickup line, but, like, I didn't really know what else to say that was relevant.
I liked it.
Anyway. So, like, obviously, this Sale gets really flustered. He's like, wait, what? No, I didn't look at anybody. But she thinks to herself that she shouldn't tease him about it because even, like, a whiff of a scandal would ruin both him and her. So, like, her saying that to anybody else, like, would destroy both of their lives. Because a royal saddle, once they are considered a royal saddle, they are meant for royalty, and no one else can touch them. Yeah. So I'm like, could a saddle, like, just decide to get married? No?
Like, after you're done being a saddle, I guess, but before? Don't know.
Probably not.
Unlikely.
Yeah. So Digby tries to get Auren back in the carriage. He doesn't like how familiar Auren and Sale are getting. But, like, Auren is like, no thank you. And then a storm starts, and she's like, okay, I changed my mind, and she does get in. Because obviously it's a snowstorm. And why wouldn't you get in if you had if you had an interior chamber where you could sit out of the storm? Mm-hmm. Why would you not? So she gets in the carriage, but she also feels really guilty because she's like, the soldiers and the horses have to stay out in the storm. But Sale's like, don't worry, we're hardy here in the north. I'm like,
You want to go with Sale?
Well, no, he's too little.
He's too much of a baby.
Yeah, he needs to grow up a bit. So then they start to veer off towards the trees, and then her carriage gets stuck in the snow, so she has to get back on the horse. And then the rest of the carriages get stuck. So the other soldiers have to help the other saddles, and I hope they all put tops on out in the snow.
Yeah. So confusing.
So they go and just make camp, and Sale instructs Auren to sit by the fire and warm up while he tends to her horse, whose name is Crisp.
Which I love.
I love it because I love the word, but it's also not a great name for an animal, I feel.
It just makes me think of a chip.
And we like chips.
We do.
My issue is that I feel like there should be a Y on the end.
Crispy. Oh, I like that.
Right?
better.
Like, it just feels weird that there's nothing on the end. Like, it's just crisp.
Yes, you make a good point. Now I hate it. Are you happy now?
Yes.
Fair enough.
So, all the rest of the saddles, they all sit around the fire, and the soldiers set up camp. And, like, she feels bad, and I also feel bad, because the soldiers don't get to rest the way that they do. Mm-hmm. Like, the soldiers, they're like, okay, we're gonna stop for the night, and then instead of, like, actually stopping to rest, they have to set up all the tents, they have to tend to the horses, they have to cook the food, like, there's all this shit they have to do.
Yeah.
Before they can actually rest, and even then when they rest, they still have to take shifts on watch for the saddles, so, like, they're always on duty, and it sucks.
Yeah.
So Auren tries to go help put her tent up, but Digby and Sale don't let her. And she also then feels bad that she gets a tent all to herself because everybody else has to share. But then she's like, at least they get body heat. I'm not going to get that.
Yeah.
So she goes to sleep with the storm, and it's raging everywhere. So the storm lasts for 3 whole days.
Wild.
And the whole time, everyone is super cranky because the fires keep going out and there's no animals to hunt. So, like, they have no food except for this dried meat and nuts. And, like, everyone is staying in their tents all cramped up and bored and miserable. And it's not a good time. I mean, like, we get cranky. I say we. I
get hangry.
As a society, we get restless. After, like, do you remember Snowmageddon? We had what? It was 95 to 100 centimeters of snow. And how many days was the city shut down for?
Yeah. I was
Was it? Right.
I was stuck out of the province.
Right.
For work.
So we had, like, it was like 4 days. And by the end of it, everyone was like, get us out of here. Like, yeah. Everyone was very keen to get out of their houses. So, and that's in, like, a secure home with power and heat and food and all kinds of stuff. You can imagine how restless people would be being stuck in a tiny tent.
Yeah.
So finally the snow stops after 3 days, and Auren cleans herself up, she eats. It's something, like, finally something hot. And then she goes outside, and the camp is already almost all broken up. They're ready to get back on the road.
She just slept through it.
So she goes to get on her horse, but both Sale and Digby notice that her hair is wet because she cleaned up, so she washed her hair. So they're like, you can't ride on your horse, you'll catch a chill. And I'm like, is that...
It's funny, because it's exactly what they said.
Yeah. So they make her ride in the carriage. And she falls asleep inside, and when she wakes up, she notices that the carriage has stopped. So she calls for Digby and Sale. She doesn't get an answer. And she doesn't hear any of the other men around. And as she's about to get out of the carriage, Sale is there, and he's telling her what's going on. And apparently Digby notices a disturbance in the snow up ahead, so he halted the party and sent out scouts, and he tells Auren to go back to the carriage. She doesn't listen and gets out anyway, because of course she does. Of course. And she's like, something has changed in her since she was first let out of her cage, and she knows that mentally she can't go back to that again. And like, she's just admitting that in a roundabout way that, from my understanding of it, essentially she has panic attacks when she's in her cage and feels like she's suffocating. So, like, now that she's out and about, she doesn't have those and realizes that she cannot go back to cage living.
Yeah. I think it's also laying a foundation for upcoming conflicts in this book and others. Yeah.
So, that's sort of one of the main reasons why she gets out of the carriage, because she can't stay cooped up inside because it reminds her of the cage. So she's like, heck nah. But I also feel like she is a pretty rebellious person by nature. Yeah. So, like, someone saying, don't do this, stay here, she's gonna automatically be like, no.
Unless it's Midas for some reason.
Yeah.
Seems weird how much she's like...
a different person around him?
Yeah.
And the saddles.
I guess it's conditioning.
Oh, hate it.
So yeah, she gets on her horse and she goes by the saddle's carriage, and Risa asks what's going on, and she says that she doesn't know, and Risa asks her to tell her if she finds out. And this is just another moment, I think, of Risa being like...
best kind.
Nice to her.
Yeah.
It's like, is this nice now, I guess?
I guess nice is a
She's
relative.
She's not outwardly cruel.
Yeah, she's not being a bitch. But again, Risa or Rissa, whatever, because I think she just the name just seems to imply more bitchiness than Polly.
Fair.
And like, frilly. How can you call someone frilly with a straight face?
Yeah. I think Frilly is one of the newer girls, and she's like... I think we might get a tiny bit more of her next
Ask me if I care. Her name is fucking Frilly.
Sorry if your name is Frilly out there.
No one's name is Frilly. It's an adjective.
Yeah. Maybe that's why they call her Frilly.
What, is her vagina frilly?
Who knows? I was thinking more of her clothes, but sure. Let's go straight to her vagina.
Well, she's a saddle. I'm sorry.
I know.
It's the first place my mind went.
That's fair. Mine didn't. Which surprised me. Anyway,
are you all flustered now because of the vagina talk?
A frilly vagina? No. I think we talk about worse things. Oh, yes, I know what I was saying now. So Sale smirks at her then and says he's surprised she didn't ask for a book to throw at Risa. And Auren just says that she was trying to help. And he says that he's teasing and says it's his favorite story about her. And he says he wasn't sure he wanted this job. And he makes a joke about freezing and he's going to say balls, but he doesn't say it because she's a lady.
Ugh.
And she's like, I'm a saddle. You can say it. But he says she is much more than that and should make people know that about her. And he keeps calling her lady, I think.
Aww.
But then he says that the guards heard the story and some thought that she was just being a bitch. And she actually offers up the word bitch because he won't say it. But some realized that she was trying to help because Risa was tired. So he knew in that moment that guarding her was the right decision because he could tell that she wasn't a spoiled snob. Yeah.
Oh.
A spoiled snob. and that she was helping, and that she's different and doesn't deserve to have such a rough time of it.
Aww.
Which I think is fair and nice of him to see. So she feels seen, but she doesn't really know how to open up because she's never really had a friend other than Midas, and she's super closed off. And he just tells her to stop chucking books. So it's like a nice moment of like she's finally maybe being able to like be known by somebody. Yeah. So they get to where the guards are, and Digby's just like, "What the hell are you doing here?"
Fucking Digby.
She's just, yeah. Also, she just doesn't listen to anything. But she's just like, "I insisted." And Digby just says that they've seen movement ahead. And she asks, what could it be? And he says, an avalanche. And that they sent a guard ahead to check. And Auren asks if there could really be an avalanche. And a different guard says yes, because of all the extra snow that fell during the storm. And it would easily, like, I guess, come down this mountain and come towards them and wipe them out. So they're really fucked.
I love that. I love that for them.
Yeah. So, like, Sale asks if they can wait, but Digby says they'll be sitting ducks, and someone else says, like, they need to cross the valley to get into Fifth, like, right away. So Auren asks when the scout will be back, and they say, he should be back by now, which, of course, they do. So they wait. And then Digby orders 3 guards to go with him to scout, and that the rest to watch the carriages and be ready to move, and for Sale to guard her. And Sale salutes Digby by, like, hitting his chest plate with his fist. And Digby looks at her as if to say behave. And she tries to salute, too, but just, like, punches her chest so hard that she, like, wins herself.
Yeah.
I'm like, of course she does. It's just funny. Auren asks Sale if he thinks that they'll find the scout. And he says that they'll find his trail. And Digby is the best guard he knows. And that the scout likely just got turned around because it's all white and snow and stuff. It's hard to see where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he tells her that she should go to her carriage.
Of course
but
he does.
She is attached to Digby, especially since he killed Folk for her. And I kind of feel like she's a bit attached to him before that anyway as well. But Sale says they'll be back soon, and an avalanche won't stop Digby because he's too stubborn and too good of a soldier, which is sweet. And Auren says he must hate guarding her, but Sale says that he requested it. So Digby actually does like her in his own way. So she goes back and she tells Risa that they stopped because a guard went missing, and she asks if they're here for the night, but Sale says they need to be ready to move as soon as the guards are back. And then they start to hear thunder. And Auren asks if another storm's coming in, and Sale just says that he doesn't think it was thunder.
Oh, no.
And a saddle says, like, what was that? And then Polly is like, is that fire? And fire just starts to spread out in front of them. And I didn't really understand this until I read ahead next week. And they hear the thunder noise again, and snow starts to shift. And someone says it's an avalanche, and lights are approaching. And then someone else is like, no, that's not an avalanche. It's snow pirates. And I'm like, that's a thing.
I'm sorry, snow pirates is ridiculous.
Yes. So Sale grabs her and hauls her away, and they're running. And she thinks she's heard of snow pirates, because, of course, we haven't. And they call themselves the Red Raids because of the blood red bandanas that they wear on their face, but they normally go for larger hauls than the people that are here. And she didn't think that they'd go for them. And then they hear hundreds.
They literally have a convoy of like 5 or 6 carriages, probably decked out in gold because they are from Midas' soldiers. Yeah. All the soldiers are wearing gold. Like, what the fuck? You didn't think they would go after you?
The carriages are gold. Like, it doesn't... If there was only one carriage, it would be worth it. So, they hear hundreds of voices and a battle cry. And Sale gets her in her carriage, but the driver's gone. So he gets in the seat, and he yells to head for the pass and to protect the king's favored. And she can see a saddle carriage racing along beside hers, but she sees that they're like way too far from the valley or the pass or the fifth kingdom. Like, they're not gonna make it.
No.
And she can hear the snow pirates, I assume is the word I'm looking for, coming. And she thinks, like, it seems like they were waiting for them to come through, which is why I was like, did somebody tip them off? I can't remember.
Oh,
so her ribbons are unfurled and hold her shaking hands to try to comfort her. And the battle all around her is super loud because, like, anybody that's not on a carriage, I guess, is just like fighting these pirates. And then the carriage hits something and her ribbons brace her to stop her from falling. But then the carriage just flips end over end over end, and her ribbons can't stop her from hitting the sides a lot. And her head snaps against the wall as the carriage stops, and she just blacks out.
Yikes.
Yeah, so quite the cliffhanger.
Well, that's where it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She has blacked out.
I don't love that.
No. And there are snow pirates on the train.
Snow pirates. I just find that the silliest concept. Like, I know pirates are no joke, but the fact that they're snow pirates and that they have to say snow pirates is just very comical for me.
It did confuse me the first time, but it does make me think of Gallivant.
Yeah.
Pirates not of the sea, but of the land. Guys, you should really watch Gallivant.
Everyone needs to. Like, honest to God. They
have to keep going back to it.
I know. We go back to it literally all the time. But, like, how can we not?
It's so good.
Now all I'm thinking of, I hid it with my girl supplies. I didn't think they'd look there. They must have sisters.
Yes.
Oh, God. Okay. So, I guess we're going to be done for this week. If you want to get in touch with us and share your thoughts on anything you heard in our episode, or if you have any book suggestions for us to do next month, reach out to us by email at coffeeandcoread@gmail.com or on Instagram or Facebook at coffeeandcoread and coffee.coread on TikTok.
So next week we're going to be finishing Gild, and that's going to be chapters 24 to the end. So make sure to follow along, and if you're enjoying our chats, don't forget to follow, rate, and review wherever you get our content. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next page.